The diner was almost empty that night, the neon sign outside flickering against the dark, rainy streets. Emily tied her apron for what felt like the 100th time that week, exhaustion seeping into her bones. It was past 11, and most of her peers were probably cramming for exams or enjoying a rare night off. But Emily didn't have that luxury. Between college classes and waitressing late into the night, her days blurred into an endless cycle of survival. Her dream of becoming an investigative journalist was the only thing that kept her going. It was the vision she clung to when her body ached and her mind begged for rest. But the reality of her life was far less romantic. Tuition bills piled up on her cramped apartment desk, alongside overdue rent notices and grocery lists that stretched her meager earnings thin. That night, as Emily wiped down a booth near the window, a man walked in. He wasn't the usual diner crowd, no greasy jackets or hurried demeanor. He was neatly dressed in a tailored suit, his posture calm, his gaze sharp but kind. Emily noticed him immediately because people like him didn't usually wander into places like this. He took a seat in the corner booth, away from the noise of the counter, and studied the menu with a quiet focus. Emily approached, notebook in hand, putting on her practiced smile. "Good evening," she said. "What can I get for you?" "Coffee black," he replied with a faint smile, "and maybe a slice of pie. What's your favorite?" Emily hesitated. Customers rarely asked her opinion. "The apple pie's good," she offered. "It's homemade." "Apple pie it is," he said, handing back the menu. Emily nodded and walked away, her curiosity piqued. There was something unusual about him, not in a bad way, but enough to make her wonder. As she prepared his coffee and plated the pie, she found herself glancing at him more than she usually would a customer. He didn't pull out his phone or seem rushed like everyone else. He just sat there, observing the world as if he had all the time in it. When she returned with his order, he thanked her politely and didn't say much else. Emily moved on to her other tables, the rhythm of the night pulling her back into the grind. By the time she noticed the man had left, she was clearing another table. She walked over to clean up his booth and froze when she saw the folded piece of paper resting beneath his coffee cup. At first, she thought it was a napkin someone had scribbled on, but when she picked it up, her breath caught. The note was written in neat handwriting. "Hard work never goes unnoticed. Call this number when you're ready for an opportunity to change your life." Emily looked around, half expecting the man to reappear. He was nowhere to be seen. She stuffed the note into her pocket, her heart pounding. Was this some kind of prank? Or worse, a scam? She couldn't shake the strange mix of fear and hope swirling inside her. She finished her shift in a daze, the words on the note playing over and over in her mind. At home, Emily stared at the note for hours. The number was written clearly, with no other details. She thought about throwing it away. Life had taught her not to trust things that seemed too good to be true. But as the days passed, the note stayed on her nightstand, its simple message gnawing at her curiosity. 3 days later, she dialed the number. Her hands trembled as the phone rang. A part of her expected it to go unanswered or connect to some sketchy voicemail. But then, a calm voice answered. "Hello?" "Hi, Emily hesitated. "This is Emily. You left me a note at the diner." There was a brief pause. "Ah, Emily," the man said warmly. "I was hoping you'd call. My name is James Foster. I'd like to meet with you. Do you have time tomorrow?" Emily hesitated again, unsure if she was making the biggest mistake of her life. But something in James's voice made her say yes. The next day, they met at a quiet cafe downtown. James was even more composed than Emily remembered, his demeanor calm, yet commanding. Over coffee, he explained who he was and why he had reached out. "I run a foundation that helps young people with potential, but limited resources," James said. "I saw something in you that night at the diner, a determination and grit that reminded me of myself." Emily was skeptical. "But why me?" she asked. "I'm just a waitress trying to make it through college." "Exactly," James replied. "You're working harder than most people your age, and you're doing it with purpose. I want to help you achieve your dreams." James explained that his foundation provided scholarships and mentorships to students who showed promise, but lacked the means to succeed. He wanted to cover her tuition and living expenses, allowing her to focus entirely on her education. For a moment, Emily couldn't breathe. The offer sounded like something out of a movie, too good to be true. "I don't know what to say," she finally managed. "Say yes," James said simply. "The only thing I ask in return is that when you're in a position to help others, you pay it forward." Emily left the cafe in a daze. Her mind raced with doubts and questions. Could she really trust James? Was this a trap? And even if it wasn't, did she deserve this kind of help? She had spent so long fighting for everything on her own that the idea of someone stepping in to ease her burden felt foreign, even wrong. Over the next week, she sought advice from the people she trusted most: her best friend, her professors, even her manager at the diner. Everyone encouraged her to take the leap. "Sometimes opportunities come when you least expect them," her manager said. "Don't let fear hold you back." Finally, Emily called James with her answer. "I'm in," she said, her voice steady despite the butterflies in her stomach. The months that followed were nothing short of transformative. For the first time in years, Emily could focus on her studies without the constant worry of how she would pay her bills. She excelled in her journalism classes, earning accolades from her professors and peers. James became more than just a benefactor. He was a mentor, guiding her not only in her career, but in life. Years later, Emily graduated at the top of her class and landed her dream job as an investigative journalist. Her first major story, a deeply personal piece about her journey, went viral, inspiring countless others to chase their dreams, no matter how impossible they seemed. But Emily never forgot where she came from. One rainy evening, she returned to the diner where her life had changed forever. She left a note for a young waitress who reminded her of herself. "Hard work never goes unnoticed. Call this number when you're ready for an opportunity to change your life." As she walked out into the night, Emily smiled. The cycle of kindness had come full circle. Thank you for watching this incredible story. If it inspired you as much as it inspired us, don't forget to subscribe to the Stories Unfolded. Your support helps us share more stories like Emily's. Until next time, keep believing in the power of hope and hard work.